terms in this instructional material. Nonetheless, at lang natin lang ang so, okay, importante. So here is the introduction to the course. Gonna write up about research, unsay purposes of writing research, and this has been discussed already in our previous meetings. Okay. Then we have the what we call as rationale. This is not uh, in some of the research publication. This is not bluntly indicated, no? Dili na siya lantaran kaayo gihisgot ang rationale. Gitago ni siya in the introduction, which I will be sharing to you on how to write the proposal. But nonetheless, let's go over on some gidening rationale. Garki, can you read the paragraph flashed on the screen?
Rationale. The research rationale is a significant component to any research work. It refers to the reason of justification for undertaking a particular work. It serves to explain why the research work to be conducted is relevant, significant, and worth pursuing. It clearly states convincing arguments for its potential impacts. A clear, well-articulated rationale is important in convincing funding agencies and stakeholders of the value of the work to be undertaken.
Okay, thank you, Garki. So, maani siya, no? So, uh, it boils down to your rationale. Partly naso diri ang objectives ana no, so mao gid ni ang purpose nagbuhat na mo sa inyong reference search no? Nakita na ninyo nga your problem is really a problem, your problem is wala pa'y nakabuhat no, and you feel that it is important. However, mo na siya kani basically ang inyong i-defend is your study worth undertaking, is your study worth pursuing. So money diri nga clear, well articulated rationale is important in convincing fund agencies and stakeholders. For this case, this is for kanang mga research works na of your professors, no, requiring external funding ng funding projects from the OST or even internal funding sa school or even stakeholders, no? Who are the stakeholders? It could be the LGU, it could be the province, or it could be private entities na concerned that are somewhat concerned or involved in such undertaking. So may example ni mo ana ma'am. Let's say you are na ay new kaning wall, no? Kaning walling system na to or ng mga light blocks. Okay? This has not been I think experimentally tested yet on a large scale setup. Murag ang ilahang mahatag na data is based on katong kagumay nga blocks, no? Which are dili sad siya representative of its actual behavior when it is applied as a wall. So, as a masonry wall. So, possibly, if you want to study the different behavior of walls with different uh, materials used in comparison to CHB, kanang mga 4-inch CHB baron versus 6-inch CHB niya imong i-add in ang katong mga light blocks no, as part of your experimental setup, then maybe you could present it to the supplier of light blocks para mafundan ang imong project kay matest man sa appeal ang ilang specimens sila na maka-benefit sad sila on whatever positive output the the test may result to, no, if positive on their end ang imuhang output nga nindot og performance ang ilahang blocks during experimental work, then good, no? So ako na swing record ako i-record ha. So ana siya ana siya, no? So for this case, since we're not asking contribution or funding from external stakeholders and agencies, then what is the purpose of your rationale? The purpose of your rationale is to convince the panelists. No? Murag ato ang funding agency and stakeholders are the panelists. No? If they think that the work is really relevant, it's significant, and it's worth to be pursued. Okay, basin niya magkaskas lang tag time and effort, and di ay murag dili mo make sense pa ang kuan impact sa study. Like for example, naagid ni mga studies before last year nga amo ang wa gisugdan, wa na mo gi-approve because of either the students were not really well prepared, no? Yeah, tan-aw na mo nga mapalpak ra ang pagkatrabaho sa experimental work, masayang ra ang kwarta and hugaw ang data kay tungod dili well prepared ang students. That's one of the reason nga nung dili ma-approve ang study. Ang ikaduha na gilay study na mura tag maingon tag super out of this world, no? Di isa ko kaingnon nga dili mao, but according to what principles and theories I have learned, na siya contradicting aspects. Okay? For example, nay usa ka study nga gi-propose. In all honesty, kanang ang mga students sa ato kay confident sila nag-effort ba yun sila, pero I think they just introduced a questionable topic for fun, kanang for my case na akong lang tanang. So, example, no? An example, ako na ni example. So, example, the use of chlorine, replacement percentage replacement of chlorine sa mixing water. Kaya naa ko may positive effects ang content sa chlorine sa hydration process sa cement. Let's say for example, basin ang chlorine na ay certain amounts of chloride nga maka-enhance sa hydration process of cement. So, unsa may nakita na itong issues? Are there issues nga ato ang makita during the data? Can we have Ariel? Unsa may imong comments on Ariel?
Good morning, ma'am. Saka ito, wa ko kay kadung
Koan, chlorine replacement, percentage of chlorine replacement in water sa concrete.
sa kuwang kay murag mag-base, magdepende po sa gyud na siya sa kanang mga content niya ma'am of kanang mo kuan ba siya kanang ang result niya is kanang pwede ba gid siya for kanang ang iyang content is kanang maka-replace ba gid siya sa kaning unsa man performance sa concrete ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Ariel. Can we have Joanne May? Can you share your inputs, Joanne May?
Pardon ganito, Miss. May question.
Unsay kuan lang, comments on the use of chlorine in terms of percentage replacement of mixing water in concrete.
For me, Miss, kay basig niya ang result sa kana gani sa ila jud study sa kanang product nila kay ma-fail na hinuon tungod sa katong ila giingon nga replacement sa water. Kana
Okay,
ra, Miss.
thank you, Joan May. And can we have the last one? Can we have Patria? Patria?
Sa ako nga side, Miss, kay basin kuan ang kari ang water manggod kay mas daghan siya niya if ang chlorine ang gamiton kay murag limited ra ang ilahang makuan, Miss. Marami.
Okay. Thank you everyone. Okay. So if we go back to our CMT no, construction materials class. Stricto kayo gi-indicate nito nga dapat ang aggregates and sand should be washed, and that is free from deleterious materials. Ito na nya stricto sa kay ngadto nga dapat ang ato ang water gamiton should be tap water and not kanang kuan kanang sa pangalan kanang seawater or other types of water. Dapat na specifics on the quality of the water. So ang punto na ko ngadto during the defense is ganong tuyuan mangyod, no, nga stricto manggani kayo ta sa aggregates nga limpyuhan natong aggregates sa bulan mo nato siya kung kanang aggressive nga component, no? Unless otherwise shown by previous researchers that chlorine ang ilahamang kung punto ato is ang kanang bleach to chlorine. Ang bleach no kay bleach man ang generic term man ni. Ang bleach kuno na ay specific chemical nga maayo nga maka-interact sa cement. Ang concern was ang bleach is composed of many things and not only that material. And how do we know that that material would interact specifically to your cement mixture wherein katumanggod nga chemical component bonded manggod siya to make the bleach material, no? Kagets mo? Ang H2O ba? Butantag H2O. Ang unsa man nato pag-ensure og ang imong gusto oxygen, unsa man nato pag-ensure nga ang H nimo dili mo interact, nga ang aura imo ipa-interact. Sure day ka nga ang aura ang mo interact sa imong cement. Nga if mo interact gani gyud ang imong O, asa man padung imong H. Inana ba, no? So something nga dili na suit sa atong scope as civil engineering students. More on chemistry siya related. Ang ato more on weighted C na lang, which is waste of time. Okay na kasi. So muna, be careful on how you present your work. Be careful on how you present your work because you need to convince your panelists on the relevance and significance of it. Okay? I hope that's clear. And the relevance and significance also play within yourself. Okay? Kung naalagi potential in your study niya ka mo kuwang mo tuon, hindi kaya po makitaan sa panelist kay ma-check gihapon nga you are not capable of doing this work. Kay sa ginot ang topic, kuwang mo cookie. Okay? So the rationale, no, which is at the end of your introduction. So this is your introduction part. Gyapon siya sa introduction, but naa siya sa 2 point nga part. Okay? Dali ha, natay i-unmute ha. Natay i-mute eh. Okay. So the rationally includes the gap, no? So nga ra makita if worth studying and it's not a repetition ang inyong trabaho. The gap describes the gap in the existing body of knowledge in a specific field and should be highlighted in the rationale, as this explains why your research is worthy of the time, effort, and resources. Should be relevant and significant. It demonstrates practical relevance and potential significance of its research outcomes, no? Na ay mga projections mo, if possible. And practical benefits in the real world should be clearly presented. Example, nagbuhat mo o concrete mix, no? Inyuhang sagulan o whatever. Asa man ang inyong projected use of the concrete mix based on your ano, references, no? Maybe ang imong concrete mix kay sagulan nimo o sagulan nimo o waste ceramic waste. Previous studies unsa may ilahang effect ani? Does it increase or does it lower the strength, or is it good for high grade structural structural numbers, or would you just apply it for SOG? Okay, dili kay siya performing inana. So real world application should also be indicated if possible. The rationale should present the study to be taken as timely, no? Naaba na siya kung sa may mga trends karon nga ngano ato man na siyang i-undertake. Tagtag nakita nato nga sige guba sa dan ang DPWH, no? So daghan yung kayo o kanang road materials na waste, no? Mga asphalt. So nanasay ni study na asphalt, no? Utilization of asphalt aggregates waste asphalt as aggregates. So if you think according to the times here, then it's good to be undertaken because it might address specific problems. So that's why I asked you to look around you. What's the problem in your community? Because for sure, those are indeed timely kay present problems man siya. It should highlight as well recent developments and emerging trends. And research propose says the use of novel or innovative research methodology. This is for methodological gap. If ang ato ang gap i-address is methods, which is very rare for the bachelor's level, and this is commonly found in the master's and very common in the PhD level. Yung kanang methods ang iusab, ang butang ta, ang mixing procedure ba ang iusab ninyo, ang time, no? That is out of the standard. That entails so much work because you need to check every aspect of it, from let's say if material study stuff, from the interaction of your hydration process and ano. So naman na specifics no nga. When mixing your materials, dapat i-mix daan ang inyong aggregates baron og cement, and you mix it for how many minutes is very specific. Ganun ka na manggod nga minutes. Ganun ka na manggod specific na minutes. And when you add in your water, i-mix na siya specific na minutes. Ganun ina na manggod nga minutes. Then, if you try to change the number of minutes, then lisod na siya. Kay, you need to check basin niya ma-overhydrate or ma-overmix, what are the effects ato pag-check. So, medyo high level na siya and something not within our timelines as bachelor student. clearly explain the necessity of the proposed process and how it can overcome the limitations of existing methods. Let's take for an example the research work conducted last year. Is taken from the study Design of Traffic Signal Synchronization for Cebu North Road segment from H. Abellana to UN Avenue junctions using computer traffic simulation. This is by Huntong, Fernan, and Nunez. This is along Pacific Mall, no? And actually, this research work has been presented by Nunez at Thailand, no? Before they graduated. So this was already presented internationally. Can I ask um, Solon to please read the example, this one as highlighted?
The Mandawi City Command Center elaborated during the data gathering done by the researchers that the traffic signal system used was last updated on March 2022. The system employs 3 different traffic cases which they have a real-time control, each with unique cycle lengths. First, the auto time system utilizes fixed time intervals unique for every intersection for typical traffic conditions. The cycles are assigned all week long. However, the agency was not able to provide an empirical basis for their cycle time allotment and distribution. The second case is the manual system control for emergencies and heavy congestion. Lastly, the flashing case removes cycle times and is implemented on periods of minimal traffic flow, such as at midnight. Also, the 3 systems in the segment of Cebu North Road from H. Abellana to UN Avenue junctions were not synchronized.
Okay. Thank you, Salon. So the purpose of the study of Huntong, Fernan, and Nunez was to design traffic signal synchronization, no? Because as shown here in the actual conditions, the last update was so dili pa kayo siya dugay, no? I-state lang nila nga last updated March 2022. However, makita na to diri nga auto time system uses fixed time intervals, no? Unique for every intersection for typical traffic conditions. So, at every intersection, naa siya unique nga time nga sa stop go sequence niya. And ang ilahang concern ani is sa usa ka intersection, let's say, mao ni ang Pacific Mall, na kay stoplight diri, na kay stoplight diri, ug na kay stoplight diri. Wala naka-synchronize ang tulo ka stoplight in such a case nga og magsugod og habwa sa first stretch, mugo na sad ni diri para mahabwa. Wala inana ang existing traffic light system sa Pacific Mall. So which may cause a problem kay ug maghabwa ng usa, mas stuck up kay wala pa na-go ang usa. So mo ni ilang study, no? So that is indicate diri nga unique for every intersection, and that is they were not synchronized, no? So and moreover, the cycles were assigned all week long. So the problem is we know during traffic cases, normal traffic, if you may notice, ang Monday ang pinakabugat and ang Friday or Saturday na diha ang biggest because ang mga gikan og probinsya mubalik og syudad para mo trabaho ika weekends ika Friday Saturday maglumba na sa kuli, so naa gyud na specific times nga mo heavy gyud siya og maayo. And so within the week na aspect, no? But if you look also within the day, there is also specific timelines nga bugat sa kayo ang traffic. That is rush hour in the morning and in the afternoon na tingbuhi o tingsod sa trabaho o eskwelahan. Naasay mulugak na in between but naasay makainon tag mini rush hour sa mga dagko nga sakyanan kay naaman tay mga truckman. So iga lift sa truckman maglumpa sa nagawas ang imong mga dagko nga truck. So naa sad na specific time diha nga maglumba na sila gawas nga critical sad sa imong traffic, which is wala sad siya na capture. So the group really did a very comprehensive work, even including the lengths katason sa mga sakyanan nga makonsider nga unsa kadakon ang imong intersection relative sa katason sa imong sakyanan. So appeal na siya sa gi-investigate na parameter in the design of the synchronization of the different stoplights. No? So very good study by the group. And we hope we could publish this in kahuman nila sa ilang review. Okay, so I think manatati rin, no? So ang ato na lang is scope and limitations. Okay, thank you. Questions so far? Questions so far? Wala questions?
Trial version.
Okay. So we already discussed this problem identification, no? With the problem, with the background and context, no? Literature review. And when we have enough documents that we have read and identified really the target gap we wish to address, then we narrow down the focus, no? Sa kadaghan na sa siguro sa atong mabasa, maka-sure na tao unsa gyoy porma sa ato ang problem. Okay? Especially when your initial topic is too broad. So you narrow the problem down to a specific research question. A well-defined, focused research problem gives way to a more manageable, very important, and in-depth investigation of the problem. Dili dako general nga problem nga katag ang buhaton. There's clarity and specificity. So be clearly stated and precise. Do not use vague or ambiguous terminologies kay mo result na og confusion between your panelist and you yourself. Manataan ang relevance and significance. Feasibility, no? Practical feasibility of conducting the research should be considered. That is, you can initially assess the availability of the data, resources, and time before proposing the topic. So, mo ni ako ang kasagaran ni pangutana. If I am given a research topic by the students, ako gid sila pangutana dayon nga, let's say for transpo na problem, ako din na siya pangutana. Before ko mo approve sa imong problem nga mahimo kong advisor, I need to verify if it is workable. How can we say that it is workable? You need to get initial information if the data that you will be using is readily available. Makuha ra nimo makuha ra nimo ang imong data baron sa local DPWH or LTO or kanang sitom or police report. If not, then nakaskas lang mo sa inyong oras kay walay padulngan inyong research kay wala man may data mo gamit. So that's why there should be an initial assessment if the data you will be using is readily available. Okay? If dali ra ba makuha. Okay. If ang nakalisod ano yung transpo nga studies, though dili siya gasto there are datas that are, let's say, you will be requesting outside of the university, and ang time frame of their response is really out of our hands, no? Ang ato ra gyud mobuhat is sige tag follow up nga kanang, sir, kumusta na to ang mga pamaray nga data, naa na ba inana siya, but mo na siya, dili na siya sa ato sa kamot, kay technically though they are allowed to share the data, kuan mo gud na kanang dili na appeal unta silang job description nga main job description nga mangay kayo data for inana siya. So what I usually do for the students, especially for the traffic count, to be accurate, ang akong buhat, ang akong ipapangayo nila is copies of the CCTV footage rather than gilimpyo na nga data, no? Para sila mismo ang maglimpyo. And daghan yun actually makuha na data sa CCTV footage, pero puti lang kasi. And especially time, no? Resources and time. Resources and time come into play as well to material studies. One, material studies is very expensive. May lang untag sa usa ka grupo na ay tulo ka DOST scholar. Okay, ang DOST scholar, tanatay budget nga 10,000 kada o, no? You can request that from DOST. That is one of your privilege as DOST scholars. Unya, ang time. You know that construction materials take at least 28 days. That is for the curing of your specimens alone. So if maglangay-langay mo sa inyong preliminary tests, last minute na sad mo ani ika defense ninyo, no? Kay wa pa na loto. Usahay mo hangyo na lang gani nga, ma'am, 21 days lang, ma'am, ano. No, kay inyong proposal 28 days ba yan? Kamo gyud ka manage sa inyong time and activities. So kano sana ninyo dapat masugdan inyong mga trabaho nun para dili mo malapas sa oras, no? Di mo ma-short sa oras. Okay? Stakeholders perspective. The researchers should consider the perspective of the stakeholders who may benefit and be affected of the research outcome. Doing so may further refine the scope of the research work and have outputs that have direct benefactor. So last year we did research, majority of the research were addressed for the LGU of Mandaue. Actually, during the birthday activity, if you were there, naay mga books, no, gi-turn over. Those were transpo and water studies of your seniors na gi-turn over na to sa Mandaue. Mandaue LGU was very generous on giving their data na nagamit ra sa ato ang mga students, no. So turn over ang mga output nila for whatever use they may have for the outputs, no, whether it be policy making or improvement of their systems. Okay, and actually one book on materials were also turned over to DPWH. Okay, then you have around alignment of the research goal. This is more on the national and international level, and kasagaran gid ani is nga rin nasa research work sa imong professors. But if maayo nga ang imong research is aligned with the university research agenda, unsay target sa university nga mga i-address nga problems, and kani siya manggod ang NEDA, National Economic and Development Authority, naghatag ni siya og mga targets para sa tibuok nasod, no. So sometimes the type of research funded depends on NEDA because it depends on what are the targets of NEDA nga ila improve. Let's say for this year, no? Nakita nga dako katag problem sa rice, no? So mahal na sa ang bugas. Asa naman to ang 20 kilo? Joke. So muhimo ng 65 ang kilo sa bugas, no? So probably base next year, because of this issue, ilahan ng hatagan o priority on research funding ang improvement of rice production ba no? And it's a research activity, however, it targets our national economic and development, no? Economy and development. Okay, I hope that's clear. And we also have sustainable development goals, which are international level. So we have, if I'm not mistaken, 17 SDGs, and all research work worldwide are anchored to the SDGs. Okay. Okay. Moreover, the college has its own research agenda anchored from the university level, and departments have also their specific agenda targeted to address current problems in line with the field of specialization of the professors of the department who will serve as advisors of the proponents. So, muna siya. Each department, because of the limitations of the specializations, then though we have research agendas in the national, international level, even the university level, say ma-limit ra gyud ta o say specializations sa atong professors. Right? So, for us, since Ma'am Auri is not here, then we have Sir Abaw, who specializes in water, and that limits us because Sir Abaw is only one and hindi siya ka-handle as many as he would like because of time limitations and schedule limitations. No? So, muna siya. Wala sa kitay nag-specialize pa ron o construction management nga naka-masters kino construction management. So, ano siya? Wala sa tay naka-masters og soil geotechnical. Murag, what I know sa San Carlos, ang ilang water nga major mo minor og soil. Okay, interrelated sila somehow. Pero soil gyud nga masters, wala pa tayo ma-istop. So, ano siya? We will be thinking of the alignment of the specialization of our professors. This is true, by the way, to all cases, no? Not only the civil engineering department, but as well as other departments in the college. So I think this is done. Important scope and limitation. So by now, you should have already at least approached a professor na namoy specific topic and nakasugod ng buta na og references. So at least from the general point of view na narrow down na ninyo somewhat ang inyong research problem, no? However, we need to think of the scope and limitation of your proposed work. The scope and limitation of a research work defines the boundaries and constraints. No? From the general, we need it to be specific, and at a specific level, there needs to be boundaries. No? Okay. Pangayuan niya, mas panelist, asa man ni. Wala may matubag, kaya wala man ninyo gibutangan o limitation ang inyong study. For example, doing experimental structural materials research work. You may include in your scope the hardware where your materials will be bought, the testing facilities where your testing will be conducted, if it will be conducted outside of the university, those performing simulations. Limitations can be made through the specific software to be used in your simulation. to be used for the simulation, clearly specifying that no other softwares will be used. No? This is very important kay basin yung ma-raise nga nganong dili kani imuhang gamiton. So, dili man comparison usa ra gid ka software amo ang gamiton, and we specifically choose this software because of the churva capabilities. Inyo ginang rasunan nganong kana gid nga specific ang inyong gamiton. And please take note, you cannot declare a software if you will be using crack. Okay. Illegal man na ang crack. Yeah. This is a research endeavor and it will put a question mark on the integrity of your work. Okay. Kinsa may magbuhat og research nga nanikas in the first place, no? Using cracks is panikas man na kay it's illegal. So, you are required to use kanang dili crack na mga softwares. So, how did they do it? So, silang John Nash, silang katong nagbuhat og transpo nga nagbuhat og mga gamit og simulation softwares ni ngita silang softwares nga free use or naay silang John Nash specifically sa ako ma-remember. Ni contact sila sa namaligya, no? Ni contact sila sa company and i-email sila nga can we have a student trial version and mo ni among study. Ilang yung gisultian nga nag-study me ani nga problem kani nga intersection kani mo ni among study, and this is for output sa amo ang thesis sa BS. Gigrantan sila, gihatagan sila use free use sa software for a specific timeline. So inana siya, no nindot kay siya naatay somewhat as a opportunity pa kay research endeavor man ang ato specifically samot na sa inyo nga bachelor's mo, so wala gyud mo resources, wala gyud kwarta nga dagko nga kwarta nga inyo magamit. Okay, so mao na siya. They were very resourceful. The group of Jonas were very resourceful and nakuan yun sila. Kanang aggressive kay sila. Ni-try sila og pangayo and they were successful. Buyag-buyag. Kuan to sila. Kanang dili wa ko nagka-problema ato og manage nila kay kusog kayo mo tuod. Anyways, other scope limitations may include but are not limited to your interviewee profile if mag-interview mo, duration and time of gathering traffic data if you're doing transportation studies. Please po pag-mute kinsa man ni okay, so mana no dili man gyud na to let's say sa traffic data as much as we want to capture all the behavior year round, like for example June to August, July, August, tendencies are gaan ang traffic kay ngano man wa na may kasi, right? So gaan ta na ang traffic. And December, mabantayan ninyo nganong traffic kayo ang December. Kaya ang mga tao, after work or after school, mga malls, kaya mag-Christmas shopping, no? Magpalit ng mga gifts or mag-andam para sa Pasko nga pagkaon. Muna, before pandemic, di na ko ganahan mula ang basta kapit na Pasko kay kanan kapoy, traffic kaayo, no? So, muna, as much as we want to gather data year round, but because of the limitations we have, okay, ang atong timeline project study 1 kuanra until January nga project study 2, which is the actual implementation, is kanira sa na mga months, then dili kita. So that's why it's important to put a limitation, specify your limitation, and that is the duration of your study. Unsa ra nga months ang inyong studyhan, or maybe the limitations will also be caused due to the availability of your data. For example, dili mo mag-actual traffic count nga tusdan nga magbarog mo tibok adlaw, no? Let's say maggamit mo CCTV, and because dako kay ni siya nga volume, the C2 manglimpyo sa ilahang data and only stores data for the last 3 months. So usa na siya sa limitation because of the specific availability of data nga mahatag na sa sitom, then that is considered also your limitation of the study. Konti, what ay mabuhat, di na nato mapugos, no? Maybe a specific catchment area for water resource study. This help researchers set realistic expectations and understand the extent to which their findings can be generalized or applied. In general, the research should be SMART, no? So that is specific. The research scope and limitations are clearly stated. What will be done, how it will be done, who will do it, and where will it be done. That is concise. Puto lagi ni concise details should be given. It should be measurable. Since we are engineers, puhon, we are in the engineering field, and since your first year, you work around with numbers, so it should be measurable. So research work should have objective and methods that are measurable, no? Kanang naarag certain extent, measurable. This helps researchers be on track and be on schedule. Dili siya sobra kadako nga dili na nato ma-manage. Achievable, it's very important. Should be realistic, no? Kaya basin niya taas kay atong damgo, di nilang taka-graduate kay ato yun abto na to ang damgo. Okay? Setting reasonable objectives helps set the work up for success. Consideration should be made in the data sets to be acquired and the proposed methodology to acquire such data sets. Nga rin na to nga problem is for setting the objectives, and if we think our methodology is actually achievable, no? Kaya naamtay gusto mahitabo, no? So naay niduol na po nga group of students yesterday, buyag-buyag, no? Kanang na sila proposing study, which I think is interesting. However, the proposed problem, masangit sila sa methodology. So when they talk about corrosion, ako silang ipa-discuss, okay, how will you do your methodology? Because I have handled a doctor of engineering advising, and her study was on corrosion. And dili na nato mapagawas dayon ang corrosion, di ba? It takes years para na mapagawas nato ang taya. So, even with artificial nga corrosion methodology, pagpagawas sa method sa corrosion, my advice then took 1 year overall para mapagawas ang corrosion projected at up to, I think, 30 years. Pila ba to ka years? Basta lagyo ang projection para magawas to ang mga severity sa corrosion. So, wala siya. Check if it is achievable, because maybe what you have in mind is good, but dili siya achievable within your time frame sa inyong pagka-BS nga students, no? The methodology to answer your objectives is not achievable within your time frame. It's achievable even at your level, but then time constraints na sa. Okay? Relevant research work and objectives results to research outcomes which are more beneficial to the community. Relevant. And lastly, time bound. So, siya sa achievable. Every research work and its objective should have a specific timeline for completions. ensuring that there is an end to the research work. This is very important, ensuring there is an end. Because sometimes, without the limitations, without the scope, di ta kay baog asa ta muhunong photo. Sige na tagpuno, sige na tagpuno. Di gyud ta makontento. So, it should be time bound para kabaw ta naatay deadlines, naatay dead ends. And kamo, inyong deadline kay inyong graduation, no? So, it ensures na mahuman gid mo before sa inyong graduation. So, remember, your research has to be smart. So, example, no? The same sa ilaha gyapon ni tungtong. Ang specific diri is they indicated the junctions. Okay. Specific, okay, achievable. Gi-indicate diri ang unsa ilahang footages. No? It is measurable and time bounded, no? Nasa diri specific siya, specific, no? Aside from the location, they also made it clear on the timelines kailang kuhaan. Okay? Due to technical differences. And they clearly stated here their scope and limitations. Study employed the computer software. Wala nila diri i-specify pa, I think. Kay nananghid pa sila ani nga mukuha sila ang data, no? Ay mukuha, magamit sila. Murag nagsugod na ilahang communications nga mananghid silang hatagan sila free use, but as to the limitations of the functionalities of the software, mo bilang i-work out. Primary data, ilarang kwaon gikan sa LGU. They consider these junctions and the timelines of the data gathered for the footage. CCTV footage ng ilang kwaan o traffic count. Okay. Okay. So you already had your problems na nasan mo'y references, initial references to back up your problem, to narrow down your problem, to see if it's really relevant. And let's have the next homework. I want you to craft your scope and limitation. So, di na lang for every problem, for one problem. For the problem nga you think is already your research topic. Then craft your scope and limitation. The scope and limitation should only be based on knowledge we have. Tama na ni, ayan na ni. Kaya man naman tao, maybe all relatedly. So craft your scope and limitation based on the information you have already. Questions? Questions? Hello. Question from the group. Let's stop sharing. And post homework for scope and limitation. Naipangbutan na. Yes, Prenza?
Nami concern miss kanang nag-approach sa Sir Aba miss Baden. Magpili na siya top 5 so katong mo ang topic miss kay possibly to mausab miss.
Sige na, wala rin problema. Pwede na. Pwede ang inyong i-submit for the scope and limitations or the references dili based sa inyong possible questions. If nanamoy topic at hand. Very good question. Pwede ra
So
dili siya.
possibly miss mabili mag-connect ang among gipasa sa katong first nga.
Pwede ra. Pwede ra.
Thank you.
I-indicate na lang nga new topic ni siya and approved by your advisor.
Okay, Miss. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Napatay questions lain? Ilot. Wala na tayo questions? Okay. If wala na, then I think that's it for today, no? That's it for today. Please na lang ko, no? Kay dili man ingon nga. Puto pa mo ni scope and limitation sa among discussion ni ma'am, sir. Oy, di lang sa mga atong methods. Dapat nagtuol na mo sa inyong advisor and magsugod na gid mag-discuss sa methods kay atong discussion sa methods is more of the general type and not di yun maka-address sa inyong specific needs sa inyong research topic, no? So please coordinate well and coordinate lang yun mo pirmi sa inyong advisor para sa inyong progress in your research work. It's already October and we need to have the proposal by December. Okay? Yes, usara ka submission gihapon per group as long as please lang indicate all the group members in the submission. Are there any more concerns from the group? If there are concerns nga wala na raise karon kay later on na mahunahunaan, then please feel free to raise them in the group chat. Okay? I think that's it for today. Please log your attendance now sa katong Google form and give me updates if there are concerns